Joining us now, former Texas Congressman Colin Allred. He's also running to unseat Republican Senator John Cornyn in the 2026 midterms. Thank you very much. Great to see you again, Congressman. So, look, just your reaction to this idea that in the middle, a special session, that you're going to carve up new congressional districts. What message does that send to Texans, especially those Texans who are still underwater looking for loved ones and grieving over lost loved ones?
Jonathan, you're so right. I mean, I was just in Kerrville a couple days ago, volunteering and trying to provide basically wraparound services to families who've lost everything. We still don't have all of the bodies. There are folks who are sorting through, the personal effects that were washed away. The grief is just almost too much to even encompass. And this is what they're doing. I mean, issue 1, 2, and 3 in this special session should be disaster recovery and preparedness. We know that there's some things that were not in place to try and save lives that need to be put in place in the Hill Country and other parts of our state. But I got to tell you, Jonathan, I was a voting rights lawyer before I ever ran for office. And for over a decade ago, when I first got into voting rights, it was a lot more subtle back then. Now they're just coming out and openly saying it. No, we're just going to try and steal 5 seats because we think that that'll help us rig our elections so then we can rig the economy. And that's what they're doing.
Congressman, do you think that Texas is the canary in the coal mine for the nation when it comes to redistricting and what Republicans and what President Trump may push them to do?
It's such a good point. Listen, I have no expectation that they'll stop here. And in some ways, you might say, well, why would they? And so we have to fight this with everything we possibly have. And folks should understand that, gerrymandering is so incredibly destructive. We are already severely gerrymandered here in Texas. But if you want to know what's wrong with the House of Representatives, you want to know why we can't really pass legislation, why it seems like there's only extremists who are getting all the attention, why sort of the middle has not held, it's because of gerrymandering. And they want to make it worse. And there's communities, very real communities here in Texas, that are going to be divided up. They're going to lose their representation. They're not going to have a voice in Washington. They're messing with historical districts going, Barbara Jordan's district, going back to, basically the advent of the Voting Rights Act. Nothing is not on the table here.
Congressman, Governor Gavin Newsom in California is now saying because of what's going to happen in Texas, like, you know what? We're going to redistrict, too. We should take a look at that. But I want to ask you your thoughts on what some Democrats are saying. And some of them believe they've warned that the maneuver in Texas could backfire on Texas Republicans by making their districts more competitive. Do you think that boomerang effect is real or could be real?
Yeah. Well, I think our first task, Jonathan, is to fight this here and to try and see if we can prevent this from passing. It's not guaranteed. Our state legislators do have some tools in their toolbox they can try to use to try and delay this or draw attention to it. I know that my former Republican colleagues in the Texas delegation don't want this because they don't want to be in these competitive races. And Jonathan, I think you know that I got elected in 2018 in a district that they had gerrymandered, but that they got a little bit too greedy. And that's how we ended up beating a 22-year incumbent there who in the previous election didn't even have an opponent. So they should ask Pete Sessions about his experience in 2018 before they try and do what they're about to do next week.
Congressman, you are running, of course, to unseat John Cornyn, the senator. You ran also in 2024 and lost about by 9 points to Ted Cruz, who many of the folks in the country. Losing that much, why should voters in Texas think that this time is going to be different?
Well, listen, I'm proud that we outran our ticket by a number of points in the last election, but this is going to be about our future, and we have to have somebody who's going to fight for us. We know that John Cornyn or Ken Paxton really are either too weak or too corrupt to stand up for our state, and I will. And what I've been just really incredibly gratified to see as I've gone around the entire state in the last couple of weeks is how many people still have a lot of fight left in them and how they're ready for this and how they understand what the stakes are. The last election, a lot of things went kind of haywire all around the country. But now what we have to do is recover from that and make sure that in this election that we stand up for 30 million Texans who need somebody who's going to fight for them. We know that Cornyn and Paxton won't. I will.
Congressman, has anything changed on the ground in Texas, though, that makes you believe that Texas this time actually may elect a Democratic senator? Over the last 6 months, has anything actually changed?
I think so. And listen, I think that every election is unique. And, when I was in the NFL, sometimes we'd learn more from a loss than we did from a win. And you have to, look at what happened and then, move on from that and apply your lessons. But I also think that there's a lot that has changed. Don't you think so, Eugene? I mean, it seems to me like the entire country is in a different place. And I think everyone is. And I certainly feel that way. We're in a time where we have to fight. And, I'm somebody who is often known for my calm demeanor. But, last time they got the congressman, this time they're going to have to get the linebacker because this is outrageous what they've done.
Yeah, I've seen you when you get fired up, so I know it's there. Former Congressman Colin Allred, thank you so much for joining us this morning.